Hi, this is Denver Smith. My name is Denver Smith, and this is my YouTube show called Denver Smith Show. This episode is with Mikey Kampmann. He's an actor and a comedian, and you may have seen him on Portlandia or Baskets or maybe other things. He's also part of the Two Wet Crew with Doug Pound, DJ Doug Pound, and we've had a fun conversation. And last I heard, he's on a boat right now, so this is dedicated to all the people in Hi, Mikey. Can you hear me? Hi.
Hi.
I tried to put us into some world, you know?
Well, I'm in the world.
I know you're in the real world. Yeah, cool. It might work.
Do I need to go horizontal?
If you want to, that might be better. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay.
better. Hello, Mikey.
Hi,
Thanks
Denver.
for, yes, I'm Denver. You're Mikey. Thanks for being on my YouTube show. It's called Denver Smith Show, and I'm the host. My name's Denver, and you're my guest, Mikey. Welcome aboard.
Great to be here.
We only met recently. We met at an open mic in Hollywood.
hmm
Um,
Yeah. Do you like my earrings, first of all?
yeah, I love it. This is beautiful, glamorous.
Yeah. We met through our friend Adam, who's a bartender.
Yeah, but he's also many other things. I still don't know everything he does.
Yeah. He we met side by side, as you do, as you meet people.
Mhm.
And we were both seated in the same direction.
And it was kind of a coincidence we happened to be sitting next to each other, but we'd sort of been introduced ahead of time.
Well, essentially, Denver, I've known about you for 15 years.
I know, and I barely knew about you, so
Yeah.
I feel
It's
bad.
pretty lopsided.
I come in and out. I've lived in LA for 20 years,
Yeah.
and when I first moved here, I did a show with Doug Pound, DJ Doug Pound, as most people know him, um,
At the Big Fish.
at the Big Fish, which no longer exists. But it was a kind of legendary show. They made a documentary about it for Showtime. It was on This American Life. Like they made a TV version of This American Life, and we
There's
killed
always a
this.
bigger fish in the sea, though, Denver.
Well, bigger than the Big Fish.
Has to be by law.
But it's the big fish. Like it didn't say the biggest fish,
Yeah, it's a.
but it was a big fish. It went in
But
it
you
kind
and Doug did that show for how long?
of like 3 years, and I did it for about a year after Doug stopped doing it.
Yeah,
But even though it was called D&D's Joke Center for a while, there's only one D in there.
that's good.
But we did that show for a long time, and then that ended. And then shortly after, Doug started doing a show with you, correct? And it's the
Yes,
Two Wet Crew.
Two Wet Crew. Doug and I met through the TV show Portlandia, and then we started hanging out as friends, doing activities together, not comedy. It's
Mhm.
really activities that brought Doug and I together.
What did
With
you do on Portlandia?
I did acting.
Yeah.
Uh,
I still haven't
uh,
seen that show, honestly. And partly because I think it's making fun of me.
I think it made fun of us all in a way.
Yeah. But I think me
And
specifically. I just
it's
recently got diagnosed for something this past week. Yeah.
sounds like a setup for a joke. Let's hear the punchline.
It's not a joke, it's a true story. I was diagnosed as being bipolar.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
You
Like
seem so even keel.
manic depression. Jimi Hendrix wrote a song about it.
Depression is a frustrating mess. Wow!
Huh. You seem very even keel.
I know, but maybe it's all an act.
Wha- wait, wait a second.
I mean, I do perform as a comedian and actor and stuff, so sometimes
Yeah,
I'm literally acting.
it's
I
also
typically,
8 a.m. in the morning. Can we say that?
and then I try to be vague about what time it is, so I'll probably cut that.
Oh, you're trying to make it seem like this is a night show, like talking at night, late night.
Well, it could be. It kind of has
Oh,
that vibe most of the time, but maybe this episode is more of a morning show vibe,
yeah,
kind of like the Today Show. It's
yeah.
like,
Good morning, Denver. Yeah,
but
I'm
but
in
pretend this is the
Ventura.
Today Show.
Okay.
And the Today Show came to Ventura for some reason,
Mhm.
and so they're like, what's going on?
Get the fuck out of here. Go back to LA.
And they're from New
We don't
York.
want your kind. We don't want your kind in here. Go back to New York. Can I get on the plane? I love New York.
I know I used to live there. It's fun.
Now, I'm gonna switch it up on you real quick.
Okay.
What was your favorite thing about living in New York?
I ran into Fab Five Freddy at a party one time. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And so one time I was in a warehouse party in New York, and they had like a little kitchen to this warehouse, and
Hmm.
I was just standing in the kitchen part, and Fab Five Freddy was there, and I said hello to him, and I don't remember what all I said to him, but I might have said like, you know, you raised me or something, but
You raised me.
he kind of did.
Yeah.
I was raised by MTV in the 80s,
That's
and he was
that's
the host of Yo MTV Raps.
right. That's cool. And that's a nice thing to say to someone that's just met you.
Yeah, he probably gets it a lot.
Yeah, you raised me. That's beautiful. I'm trying to think who raised me. Probably that show Supermarket Sweep.
That's
Which
just
is why I
because
spent a lot of time in the grocery store, I think, wandering the aisles looking for my family. I used to watch that in the suburbs of Los Angeles after school with my childhood best friend. We'd eat mac and cheese with carrots on the side, and we'd watch
wow.
Supermarket Sweep.
Did
Um,
your mom make you eat carrots?
it was his mom that made us eat carrots. I grew up on the west side of Los Angeles. I passed by mile posts of my childhood stomping grounds every now and then on PCH. I
Right.
was just talking about it last night with a friend. I used to ride my bike down to the ocean, down Temescal Canyon Road. It was a safe neighborhood to grow up in, so we could. All right, dinner's at 5. It was that kind of a thing. Like be back by 5 or whatever. Dinner wasn't at 5. Dinner was at 6.
Did you ever go to that restaurant?
Great question. Yeah, I definitely did go to that restaurant.
Gladstone's? Did you ever go to Gladstone's?
No, I never did. We used to drive past it, but never went in.
My cousin used to work there.
Really?
Yeah, before I lived here.
Now, for people who are tuning in from New York or Chicago,
Hmm.
Gladstone's is a restaurant that's on PCH, which is the road
He was just
Pacific
talking
Coast
about.
Highway.
Yeah, you were just mentioning it.
Yes, it winds up the coast to Malibu. And Gladstone's is right there on the corner of essentially Sunset and PCH,
Where it dead ends into the
where it
ocean.
dead ends into the ocean. What a great word. See, now that's a nice thing to say about a town. Take Sunset until it dead ends into the ocean.
Good PBS show where they took I forget who the host was. Uh,
Randy Newman?
it might have been with Randy Newman, but they
Denver
did a
Smith
document.
would be a good host for a PBS show.
I know. Sign me up. I'm down. I worked on a PBS show one time. It was a documentary about Lillian Hellman.
Huh. Okay, what was the show that you were describing? It's on PBS. It goes.
Yeah, it was a documentary where they just go from the beginning of Sunset, which is like where Cesar Chavez turns into Sunset, I guess,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
Dodger Stadium,
Yeah.
and they go all the way to the ocean, and they just like stop at little places along the way and stuff. Kind of like very Huell Hauser.
Hi, I'm Huell Hauser.
But I don't think
It's a
it was,
long drive. That'd be a nice walk, actually.
it'd be very long.
Be a long. You could do it in one day, though.
You think?
Yeah, it'd be a long day, but you could do it from Caesar. You know that what's rude about that is it assumes that Cesar Chavez would never want to go to the ocean. They put him all the way at the other end. I think it's a bit racist.
Well, he was a farmer.
I stand corrected. Never mind.
And most farms are more inland.
Yeah, he probably wants to swim in like a river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
The LA River, which is right there. Okay, I stand corrected. And this is when it real had real dirt banks,
yeah,
mud
before it
banks
was all concrete.
before it was concrete. Now it's just unbelievable that you have to tell children in Los Angeles these days that that see that LA River. Believe it or not, once upon a time it wasn't all concrete. Yeah. I know someone that grew up to a place similar to LA River, but it's called LA Fitness.
That reminds me of a joke I heard one time. They said, I work at a like workout center. I don't want to mention the name, but the initials are LA Fitness.
That's good. That's like workout center.
I didn't even
River.
finish the story about the um the deli place. How we met at the deli.
The deli.
Well, it's connected to the deli.
I see. Okay, yes, you're right. We went to it's called Cats. No, not Cats is in New York. We
Yeah,
went
cat.
to not Langers is downtown LA.
Mhm.
We went to it's the Kibitz room next to um this is embarrassing. Can't remember
There's
my
too many
delis.
delis. I can't remember them all and can't keep them straight.
Lord. Um it's on La Brea. No,
No,
it's on
it's
Fairfax.
on Fairfax.
It's on Fairfax. Okay.
I looked it up just now, which deli it's connected to, and on Google it says it's an attached to an old school deli. It doesn't say
It
the name.
doesn't say. I can't remember this deli. Uh Langers. No, Langers is downtown. We already said that. Um it will come to us. It's open mic.
Cantors.
Can't Cantors. Cantors? And I was preparing for a Two Wet Cruise show.
Yeah.
Um
Well, I ended up going to that show too. So I that was the first time I ever saw a Two Wet Crew show, I think.
because I without having met you, I know of you for 15 years, so I know we'll
All
get
bad
along.
stuff.
No. So I go off to Kibitz room at Cantor's anyway to go do this open mic, which is a totally mellow open mic. And I walk in. Were you already there?
I don't think so. I think you were there first. But then we met and we both did stand up. And I remember there
We
was
both
like
did stand up.
two old guys talking really loud.
Yeah.
And I was able to shut them down by saying, hey,
Shut them down.
I did. They were being real loud. It was
Okay, so how'd you
the
shut
whole
them down?
show. I said, are those guys talking about Burning Man? Or,
Yeah.
I think those guys just came back from Burning Man. I
Yeah, they
stopped talking
won't
about
shut
it.
up.
They
Yeah,
won't shut up
exactly.
about Burning Man.
Yeah.
And then they left like right away. So it kind of
Yeah.
worked.
Here's what I like about the open mic at Cantor's, besides the old burners who are talking during the show, is
And they did
it's
not
nice.
look like they were really going to Burning Man. They were like old guys.
Yeah, they were like catching up on like life. They hadn't seen each other. It looked like they hadn't seen each other in like 15 years, and they were like, "What have you been up to?" Um, but I love an open mic where you can get a bowl of matzo ball soup instead of getting like a Budweiser.
I mean, I like Budweiser.
You said I'm afraid of eating, right? Didn't you say something like that? It was an odd phrase, like I'm afraid of eating or food scares me or something like that.
I think I
And
might have said I'm afraid of food.
because it was very deadpan the way you said it as well.
I know
You
people
know,
can't tell if I'm joking or not.
now is that is it all an act? It's all an act.
I mean, I think it is all an act, honestly. One time I was on the BBC radio.
Man, you're on all these shows. This American Live, BBC. Go, yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
well, they were all like 20 years ago, but um, I was on the BBC once, and the a guy came to Texas and he interviewed me, and I was a taxi driver at the time, and I gave him a tour of Austin, and then at the end I told him like it's pronounced taco, not taco, and then the guy when he came back to England,
Hmm.
it was like in London at the BBC, he was talking to the other BBC guy and about me, and he said he was the driest person I've ever met.
And that's a British man saying that. Fuck the English, you know. No offense to all of your English listeners,
They were really
but
big there.
I don't think the Scots want to be identified as Shrek. Like,
I mean, it could be like, like the Mets took on Grimace.
Introducing the ultimate baseball fan. All the way from McDonaldland, please welcome the one, the only Grimace.
and where did Grimace come from? I'm aware of the mascot, the Mets using Grimace as a mascot, but where's
He's
Grimace come from?
I actually know the story very well. Sid and Marty
Sid and Marty.
Croft. They made puppets and stuff, and they made
Okay.
children's shows in the 70s. The Banana Split show was one that they made. So they made these characters for children and stuff, and then McDonald's hired them to make some characters for McDonald's.
Hmm.
One of the characters they made was Grimace. I'm pretty sure that's true. And he's a big purple thing that's
Yeah.
kind of just a purple blob. Like he's not an animal or a kind of food or something. And then Grimace was also like a TikTok meme for children. There's
Hmm.
like there's a Grimace dance.
That makes me hate the Grimace. Just cut this part out.
Maybe, or maybe it'll be interesting. Yeah, we're back. I mean,
And we're back.
if you're just joining us, my guest today is Mikey, and I know we're making sure we can like dox you or whatever. You spell your last name Campmann with N.
K Kampmann. Thanks, Denver.
Well, I was looking up your IMDb. You were on Portlandia, and you were also on Baskets, right?
Yeah.
But is it bad that I always want to call Baskets the show Buckets?
No, I don't think so.
In my mind, I like to call it Buckets.
I don't think that's bad to do at all.
What were you on Baskets? Because I saw a couple episodes of that show.
I'm briefly in an episode of the final season. I play a pedicab driver, one of those bicycle cabs, and I pick up Zach Galifianakis in the pedicab. Why that was cool for me is that when I lived in Portland, Oregon, where I met our friend Adam for the first time, that's where I really started to begin to do comedy. And Zach Galifianakis was one of kind of the inspirations to do comedy at a young age. And so it was kind of cool to pick him up in my pedicab and
Yeah,
do a scene with him.
I've still never met him, even though
Yeah.
a good friend of mine supposedly inspired him to do stand-up. I was watching David Letterman's show on Netflix,
Yeah.
and he had Zach
Is that your friend?
Galifianakis on there. No, it wasn't David. I've been in the same room with David Letterman, but I've never met him
Yeah.
personally. But a funny story about David Letterman. I have to tell the story. One time, it was like right before Y2K. I lived in New York, and I was in the audience of Letterman, And
Hmm.
before the show started, he would always do stand up. And one time he was there and he was doing stand up and he's like, yeah, a lot of people say that they're gonna have sex before like the when New Year's happens. And
Yeah.
then I think I was like one of the people going, yeah, whatever, yeah. And I swear he looked straight at me and he's like, not you, sir.
Oh, really?
But then I showed him because I had sex at a party on New Year's Eve on Y2K. So Letterman had Zach Galifianakis on his show on Netflix. And Zach Galifianakis mentioned my friend Lisa Delarios. He said that he met her at a bar, which was Max Fish, which another friend of mine who's been on this show, Patrick, he used to manage that bar,
Called Max Fish.
but supposedly Zach Galifianakis was hanging out there. My friend Lisa was hanging out there, and Zach Galifianakis was being funny, and Lisa told him, "Hey, I do stand up. You should go with me and do stand up." And then now he's famous
Yeah,
as
that's
a
true.
famous comedian.
It's true. There's a connection in your life to bars that end with fish. And
Yeah,
if you think about Max Fish and Big Fish, that's kind of saying the same thing.
both of those places don't exist anymore. They
Mhm.
both had their time and they closed down. And so maybe that's like maybe I'm closed down. All we
So
are is dust in the wind, is what I'm trying to say.
I think there's always a bigger fish in the sea. I do want to say that the other link between your stories, and I think this is an important thing for us to talk about, is so Zach Galifianakis, Big Fish. What do those two things have in common? See if you can get it. Well, I'll tell you this. If you get it right, my response will be, you got it.
Well, Brody, right.
Yes.
So Brody was connected with Zach. They
Yes.
were friends, I guess.
Yes.
He put him, he would always talk about how Zach Galifianakis helped Brody get into the hangover. I was in the
Yes.
hangover. And
Cut from a scene from Due Date.
or my favorite was I got a call back for Sleeper Cell.
So when I shot on baskets and I have Zach Galifianakis in the back of the pedicab in between takes, I say, "Oh, we have a mutual friend." Well, we had a mutual friend. I knew Brody because I did. He used to do Two Wet Crew, and I'm happy. I got to a place in the world where if Brody saw me, he recognized me and would say hi. I loved Brody. He made me laugh so much, and yeah, I'd see him in public, and he'd give me knuckles. Yes, I got the knuckles from Brody. The minute I said Brody's name with to Galifianakis, he he like combination lit up slash put the guard down, and then we just shared stories. We just shared Brody stories.
It was after he died.
Yeah, it was after. This was after we shot that scene after Brody's death. Well, Brody was so loved, you know,
Yeah, I
and
knew Brody since I started doing comedy in New York. Like he was around when I started, and then
yes,
when I moved here, he had been here for a while already. And then when we started doing that show, Big Fish, like I begged him to do that show. It took like at least a year of begging him, and
mm-hmm.
then he finally did it. And then he was like Mr. Big Fish after that, and like
Yeah,
filmed stuff there and everything.
yeah.
Yeah, I was, I had kind of a weird relationship with Brody. I knew him pretty well.
What was the weird part about it?
Well, for one thing, I was kind of mad at him for the last couple of years he was alive
Yeah,
because I wrote something for him that was a script I wrote. But I thought it was pretty good, and but he wouldn't read it, and I was like so mad at him for not reading it. There was also another time like I don't know, like around that time, like before he died, like where Brody was like talking to me one time and he was like talking to me about some of his like issues. Mm, and and I kind of was like I didn't really want to talk to him about it. Like I felt kind of bad that I was like, didn't you already make a TV show about this?
yeah, yeah.
Because there literally was a TV show where they discussed all this stuff.
Yeah, there's a feeling with Brody that he lived with this stuff and that he had been living with it forever. But it was something that was manageable for him, and that he even leaned into it for his career by making a TV show about it and stuff like that. And so you never got the feeling that he was become overwhelmed by it in a way that he would actually take his own life. But I think it was just really shocking to everyone, because he must have known that he was loved. I mean, he on some level he must have known, because everywhere he went, people were happy to see him. He brought so much energy to the room wherever he went. He appeared, and there was Brody's here.
Like, holy shit, Brody's here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Damn, he used to go to the batting cages to play just to play catch.
I know there's got to be a book. Somebody needs to put a book of like all his jokes.
I know someone that I think is that person to do it. And if it's not our friend Adam, then it's this other guy, Alvarado. It'd be good is a Brody, one of those Brody wall calendar, like those daily calendars where you rip, you rip the page, and every page has like a Brody joke or a Brody aphorism or something like that. I think I have to go.
Well, thank you, Mikey, for being on my YouTube show. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Denver.